What's going on, everybody? JT here, and I am with Igor Mikhalev, the founder of Blueshift. Blueshift is a novel portfolio-based asset management protocol and decentralized exchange built on Milkomeda and extending their reach from Cardano to Algorand. I'm super excited to have this conversation, so I want to welcome to the show Igor. How you doing?
Hi, everybody. It's Igor Mikhalev here, broadcasting from rainy Amsterdam. So all good and happy to be here.
That's fantastic. So, a lot of people in the Cardano ecosystem likely know what Blueshift is, and my community is a bit more Algorand based, so they might not have any idea what Blueshift is. So, if we could start off with a quick, rundown on what Blueshift is, and maybe a little bit of background on yourself and why you decided to create it.
Surely. So a bit of a background on myself. So I'm working in the crypto space for over 7 years. I started as an entrepreneur there. I worked for major consulting companies like BCG, where I focused quite a bit on the development of our crypto capability in Europe or in the US as well, consequently. Now, next to being the founder of Blueshift, I'm also working as a partner with EY Parthenon, which is one of the strategy consulting arms of EY, focusing on crypto and digital strategies around decentralized economy in general. So how did we come about Blueshift's idea? A few years ago, with a friend of mine from the MIT, we were exploring this fair launch, so to say, idea where, the idea is that as a founder of a certain crypto initiative, you are distributing those tokens to people that deliver merit to your ecosystem. And we launched the first generation of our DEX, which we called back then Liquify. And it was live on Ethereum, it was live on Binance Smart Chain. And in general, we have assembled multiple people in our team that had deep passion for DEXs and deep passion for efficiency gains in DEXs. And like this, we worked for over 2.5 years, iterating it multiple times towards what it became, Blueshift, with its unique features, something that you cannot find in other DEXs, something that makes it truly unique. And you might ask, what does it make unique? And I can tell you that this is predominantly our liquidity portfolio-based idea, which revolutionizes decentralized finance in a similar way how indexed portfolios, indexed funds revolutionize the world of stock and equities investing. Right, so as an investor, you can diversify your risk. You can do one-sided investments as well. So you can look at the introduction of only one token into your portfolio, and you can get exposure to a number of assets that portfolio managers have selected for this specific risk-reward combination that's prevalent in this specific portfolio. Oh, well, more on this, I guess, later down the road.
Yeah, I mean, this is actually goes right into one of the questions I had, which is essentially how does decentralized portfolio management work? And obviously in the centralized world, you have a broker or an advisor or something like that picks everything for you, or maybe just a mutual fund that has already done it for you. So how does it work in the decentralized world?
Yeah, so our DAO, first of all, elects a professional portfolio manager. In the future, we already have discussions with some of the major, let's say, C5-based portfolio managers. It can also be more traditional types of portfolio managers that have been experienced in it for a while. But right now, it's mainly crypto natives. So our DAO elects crypto natives to act as a so-called portfolio manager. And portfolio manager will, in an ongoing basis, choose right composition of this specific portfolio. So, for example, if it's a portfolio with high risk, high reward type of alpha with startups from the crypto community, projects that have been launched just recently and just hot off the launchpad, then it will be dealt with in a certain way. It will be invested in a certain way. Then if it's a stablecoin portfolio, then clearly the strategy is different. So our portfolio managers elected by our DAO are the ones to take good care of the composition. And lastly, also important to know that all Blues holders of our token, are able to vote for those changes to be effective. So it's not like the portfolio manager can decide single-handedly on everything.
Fantastic. And my next question was essentially going to be, what is the Blues token and how does it tie into all of this? And you sort of alluded to it a little bit, that at least it's a governance token, but I'd imagine there's a little bit more to it. So I'll let you take the reins there.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's a governance token, but also it has plenty of utility qualities. So yeah, in the first place, you get rewards for liquidity providers through Blues, right? So you get it for providing the liquidity into our DEX. It also acts as governance in things like portfolio management, what we discussed, but also in situations where more, let's say, fundamental to the protocol changes need to be run. You can also use it to claim protocol fee. And what's coming soon, what we are working on right now, is the cross-chain liquidity idea. So the mechanism that allows for direct native cross-chain trades on either sides of Blueshift being deployed on, let's say, Cardano Algorand in this case. And the utility of Blues in this case will be to fuel those cross-chain transactions and incentivize nodes that are processing those transactions between two sides of Blueshift deployed on both chains.
So will the Blues token only be a Cardano asset on the Milkomeda chain, or will it also be extended to be an Algorand standard asset once the integration towards Algorand is made?
Yeah, so it is a Cardano native token now, but we are, of course, bridging it to Algorand, and it will be available in Algorand, right? So it will be bridged in sufficient quantities, so it will be available there as well.
Fantastic. So the next question will have to be, when does the Algorand mainnet integration go live? So essentially, when will Algorand users be able to use Blueshift?
Yeah, so we expect it to happen, first of all, around 12th of October, we are launching our DEX on the mainnet of Algorand, but then it will take around a month of time to deploy the cross-chain functionality as well.
Oh, fantastic. Cool. So what will be available at launch for Algorand users?
So I cannot talk too much about what exactly is planned because we have many things in motion, many cross-marketing initiatives with bridges, liquidity providers, and so forth. But what I can tell you is that upon launch, so during launch, the week preceding the actual launch, we are preparing our liquidity portfolios. We're making sure that we have filled them up with a certain initial liquidity. We are bringing our core liquidity partners from other chains, not only Cardano. Our bridge partners are also contributing certain liquidity so that we are negotiating which portfolios will be there at the genesis of Blueshift and Algorand. And as we launch, you will see those portfolios live with certain amount of liquidity and interesting, profitable trades available to the early users.
Will the set of features of Blueshift on the A1 Algorand rollup be the same as the Cardano sidechain?
Yeah, I would say it will be exactly the same with one addition. So the cross-chain functionality is not yet available on Cardano sidechain, but as soon as we have more deployments, and Algorand is the deployment that will make it different, we will enable the cross-chain functionality, which will increase the efficiency of the capital that is available on our DEX, and it will basically make the native trading between two chains available by design.
Awesome. So, I mean, that answers another question I had, which is essentially, will Algorand or Cardano users be able to swap assets, maybe from a Cardano asset to an Algorand asset nice and smoothly without having to, do anything too difficult?
Absolutely. So this is exactly our contribution to the user experience. You don't have to bridge it on both sides, wait for like 30 minutes for it to come through, and then, unbridge it back once you're done. So all of this we want to sort of put under the hood for our users.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's really great because I do believe cross-chain is the future. I know the crypto space is very full of maxis, if you will, but I do think multi-chain is the way to go. So what Milkomeda is building, and of course what Blueshift is doing on top of Milkomeda, it gets me at least very exciting. I want to ask, you mentioned it before. You mentioned that Blueshift operates as a DAO. Could you elaborate a little bit more on how that works, and what types of things users get to vote on and change within Blueshift?
Yeah, so right now it's limited number of things. So it's portfolio composition, right? So basically, which ones are available, which tokens are in every portfolio. It is also the protocol fee, which is now super low, and it will stay like this, I think. Yeah, and so far, this is it. So far, only the core parameters that I mentioned.
Cool. So how do the portfolios work? And I guess for more context, how does Blueshift decide the makeup of each portfolio? And as the Algorand integration progresses, will we be seeing more Algorand assets within these portfolios?
Yeah. So to take a step back, every portfolio is insulating in terms of risk, helping our users to insulate risk between the portfolios, right? So basically what happens is if you are holding assets associated with one portfolio and it goes down for some reason, so let's say, one token was hacked and basically it gets drained because potentially somebody comes in and sells a billion of tokens in our portfolio trying to get the good ones. First of all, the user will be insulated from this risk by our mechanism that prevents from that kind of overflowing operation to take every other asset without rebalancing. So the rebalancing logic will prevent people from being exposed like this. And also, the person will not be exposed risk-wise to other portfolios. So basically, those are like risk containers that allow you to gain or lose together with the tokens that have been put in those portfolios. You can trade between them. There are routes available between them. And as you can imagine, as there are no pairs, there are only portfolios, when liquidity gets put together, it is more efficient because then it's the sum of all as opposed to one pair being available for trading, right? So if, let's say, you have ADA versus assets XYZ, ADA will, in our case, be sum of those three pairs that I just mentioned, and therefore it will make the trades more efficient, so lower slippage, lower impermanent loss.
Yeah, that's fantastic because traditional AMMs, you just have two sides to the trade. Of course, liquidity is very important, but liquidity providers often fear this impermanent loss, which hinders the growth of liquidity. So that's fantastic.
Exactly. That's exactly why we designed it this way, right? We exactly wanted to solve this problem, and we've done it after a couple of years.
Yeah, it's a big problem to solve, so it's certainly exciting. I want to move on to yield farms a little bit. I noticed that Blueshift has some fantastic yield farms, including a stablecoin one that has a great yield. So I have to ask, how does Blueshift find the yield for these farms?
Yes, so we have done quite a bit of token economics development and analysis to come up with balanced rewards, in a sense that when rewards are due, they will not drag the price of the coin down or not water down the available amount of tokens there, right? And it's done through the goal-based disbursement of those tokens. So tokens will be only disbursed in the full offered amount once certain milestones have been hit to the user from the user's perspective. Right, so I think, as far as I remember, 25% of those tokens you get automatically, and then the rest of the 75% you get on the basis of goal achievement.
Awesome. And what constitutes these goals? What kind of goals are we talking about? Say I want to get into the stablecoin farm. What do I have to achieve in order to get the full reward?
Well, it's predominantly us together needing to achieve a certain TVL. And then once we have certain TVL in place, the promised disbursement will not hurt the price of the token as much. And that's basically the logic for the rewards.
Awesome. So we talked about liquidity already a little bit and how it works within portfolios versus traditional AMM pairs. But what is Blueshift doing, or what is the plan going forward to attract more liquidity to the platform?
Yeah, so as I mentioned, we have a number of very interesting partners, and they are active since we are live on Cardano Milkomeda. So, for example, we have partners like Multichain and Seller, being core bridges, key DeFi primitives on a number of chains. They are helping us to gain traction once we deploy. So in this case, they will be bringing their own liquidity to help us bootstrap the DEX. Then we have liquidity providers that just come because they like our APRs and they saw those payouts happen in the past, so they are happy to join as well. Then we're going to have new portfolios in place. We will have Cardano native index, so the index portfolio that looks at Cardano native tokens, most interesting ones that we have been selecting carefully with the help of our community. Then we will establish similar one in Algorand. It will be called Algorand native index. We will have impact portfolios in terms of societal impact, because we are caring for our DEX to have a positive societal impact, and we are doing it through our portfolios as well. And then there will be liquidity provisioning competition between Milkomeda and Algorand, and Milkomeda and Cardano. So whichever chain's portfolios will win will get a higher APR for a month. So a bit of a gamification there.
Awesome. That's really exciting. It's it'll be cool to see the Cardano and Algorand communities kind of go head to head there on that one and see who prevails. So I'm curious, will Algorand users need to create a MetaMask wallet to use Blueshift?
So that's actually a good question. Yeah. I think at least at the first stage that will be the requirement, right? Because that's how we typically work with Milkomeda. So you would need to have something like MetaMask to work with that.
Fantastic. So what else does Blueshift have in store? We've talked about a lot, from portfolios to yield farms to the liquidity to the cross-chain features, but I'd imagine there's more in store. So what does the roadmap look like maybe for the next 6 to 12 months for Blueshift?
Yeah, I think it highly depends on the market situation, of course, because the appetite towards feature development versus conserving more, preserving more, is highly dependent on the sentiment in the investors community and also on the users. So therefore, it's a little bit hard to commit to specific timelines and milestones. But I can tell you that what we have definitely in store, it's coming for sure, is the cross-chain protocol implementation. So what we discussed today to a certain extent, right? Being able to trade between chains and use aggregate liquidity among multiple chains when you perform swaps. So this is coming definitely this year. Then it's efficient swaps for stable coins with the help of what we call pluggable AMM. So we're going to release a stablecoin specific mechanism for stable swaps. And then we will have a referral program put in place, something that would allow highly targeted referrals and something that would reward people that do those referrals in a personal basis.
Fantastic. I know there's at least one application in the Algorand ecosystem, actually two, that do a referral-based system, and it's great. So there's Lofty AI, and I can do referrals, and people can get a little bit of money towards their real estate investments, and then Folks Finance as well with their governance model. And I think that's actually really a great model to utilize, because you've got, whether it be influencers or just other influential people online that could increase the TVL or liquidity of your platform. So I think that's a fantastic method there. I've got a question here from a community member that I sourced this morning that is essentially asking, how soon after mainnet, Algorand mainnet that is, can we expect Blueshift to report TVL on DeFi Llama on the Algorand side?
Actually, it's a fairly simple change. I expect it to be able to report it in, let's say, a couple of weeks from launch time. There's nothing special that needs to be done, and we are having ourselves a very good relationship with DeFi Llama, so everything will be fine there.
Perfect. Where can my audience go to learn more about Blueshift, maybe test out the Algorand portion of it before it goes live, and just learn more overall about the project?
Yeah, surely. So you can test it on app.blueshift.fi. There's also where you can see a lot of documentation, but if you want to be specific, you can read our white paper. It's available on the website. Maybe a good way to start is to start with our Discord, because there we have our community managers answering all your questions, and if needed, just talking to us as well to make sure everything is answered properly. You can also join our Telegram community. It's typically a lively conversation there as well. Please follow our Twitter to stay up to date with all the developments, and We're going to soon be revamping our website to make sure that all our thought leadership pieces are available there, because we've done plenty of research, development, and posting on different platforms, Medium and LinkedIn and whatnot, but we want to gather all of this on our website now.
Fantastic. And for those listening along, I will try to include all those links down in the description below to make it very easy for you to go and learn more. I'm going to wrap things up with this final question, which is essentially, and it could go for a while because I'm not sure what else we haven't discussed, but I want to leave the floor open to you to bring attention to anything that I might not have asked about, or anything that Blueshift is working on that we haven't had a chance to discuss today. So I'm going to leave the floor to you for that.
Yeah, thanks, JT. Yeah, so from my perspective, maybe one point, especially in this market, when we are so focused on utility and we are also looking for creating positive societal impact, I would really invite you guys to connect with our community managers and connect with our marketing team and share your opinions and perspectives on how we can be more useful in real life usage scenarios, how can we be more user-friendly, and how we can add to basically how can we give back to the community of engaged crypto users and enthusiasts. So that kind of feedback would be very important for us to have. And everything else is what we discussed pretty much covers our activity.
Fantastic. Awesome. Well, Igor, this has been a great conversation. I'm super excited for Blueshift to launch on Algorand. I've been following this project now for at least like 2 months or so. Very excited about what you guys are doing, and really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to join my show.
Hey, the pleasure is all mine. Thanks, JT.
Awesome, everybody. Thanks for watching my show. That was Igor Mikhalev, the founder of Blueshift. If you like this conversation, smash that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, and we'll catch you in the next one.